going to go to live streaming, events, and I want my upcoming. Do you see it there on the YouTube? Can you see it there? And if not, maybe you have to go back and bring it backward, okay? So that you can see it. So then I have here, what should I do? I want to start Hangouts on Air. It says, please wait. What?
It froze after you redo it.
That's what you want to do. And then even let you know. Okay, I want to start my broadcast. Now, I'm going to do this. And I want to start my broadcast. I say okay. Another one. Okay. And then I'm going to go into login. You see here? I don't know if we need to dim the lights. You think we should dim the lights a little bit? Maybe we don't need as much glare. You can see it? Okay, just a little bit, or else you know what happens, Jesse? Everybody sleeps on me. And then I start snoring too, and then it gets too loud. Okay, so now I'm going to my KY, right? We're in KY. And Josette, this is what we want to do. I'm in my regular KY section. And now I'm going to go to course documents. You see where it says live streams?
Oh, I went to web links. That's what I did.
Everything is easy when you know it. And then I'll change it each time. And now I'm going to do what? Web link. And I want the short one, right?
Okay, cool. So I can just go back. I can just go back in there.
Yeah. And you can view anytime. That's why it's live and archived, right? That if I go back to, see here, if I go back to my one here, you see the links here? Just can copy that. Copy it. And minimize this. And then what's today's date? Wednesday, what? February 7th? Yes? 2018. Now I'm going to submit, right, Wednesday, February 7th, 2018. You see that? Just that? So now, basically, everyone can see it outside, and now what I'm going to have, let's see if this is going to work. Who knows? Okay. also experimenting. Remember we're eating our own dog food? Remember I talked about blockchain? Crypto currencies? Anybody hear about that? Yes, no? We did. This is a website called Steemit, STEEMIT.com. You put it in your notes. And what this does is this is using blockchain and cryptocurrency. And what they're doing is creating a network of, they have it like Steemit coins. Instead of like Bitcoin, they create their own coins and they create their own coin called Steems. And what you do is when you register for this, you get a wallet, and every time you blog and every time you post, you get credit. And people then can vote on you, and then you get supposedly promoted and you get more Steems. You get some more coins. So the idea is that the best blogs or the best articles or the best posts will race to the top and get the most Steems. And then you can exchange it and so forth. And this is an experiment, and I don't even, you know what I'm saying? I don't know about this company, but I came across it, and it's an interesting idea to use blockchain. So I'm going to try to take my lectures, and let's see if I can also put it up there. And I called my channel The Psycho. Okay? And my phone number, guess what my phone number spells? What does my phone number spell, you think?
Psycho.
The Psycho. And maybe in terms of search engine optimization, we can match numbers with, you know, channels or domain names. And maybe in this case, if you want to call me, to say, you know, that instructor, that Psycho, you can remember it better than what my number is. So these are all experimental kind of things here. So let's see if let's see, what was the name of my, when I was doing my, did it work?
No.
What happened?
He had problems with his computer.
Okay, so always issues,
He said
right?
call back.
Okay, he's gonna call us back?
Yep.
Okay, so when he calls us back, we'll see. Okay. Always issues, huh?
Yeah.
So anyways, so what we have here is we can see if this is gonna work. So I'm gonna go to Steemit, I'm gonna post, and in the posting here, let me see what's pasted. Here's one of the links, right? This is basically our, what's today's date? It's 2/7/18, right? And we're going to be talking about security and blockchain. And then I'm going to say here, this is my, and right here, this is where we can also, Eden, put the transcript. Your transcripts, then we can fill it in. But at this point, I'm going to say, this is going to be the lecture. And let's see if anything works. And then I'm going to put in then blockchain. I have to do some tags. Blockchain. What else? Security. We'll talk about hardware. And we'll talk about NinjaTrader. Okay, use only lowercase, it says. So we'll talk about NinjaTrader. Okay, and let's post. Okay, try to do it. Let's try to do steam it. .com, and then the slash, right? And then put the at sign, the psycho. See what happens. See if you can find it. Anybody find it? What you get? Anybody trying? Did you get it? Okay, now go in, click on it. You working? Okay. So another place that you always can find me, Josette, you can create, for you, those of you who are interested, you can create yourself channel and you get a wallet. Now in blockchain then, Isabel, we have a wallet, and what do I have in my wallet? What do I store in my wallet? Who can tell me? What's stored in my wallet? Yes, it works? Perfect. Neat, huh? What's in my wallet?
I got my volume on. Sorry.
But this is where you can find me. The Psycho, steam it. Now come at the Psycho, and then I can put also there is I can also put the long URL, and in the long URL I can invite participants. So not only viewing, they can be my participants in there. So we can always, so because the problem, what's the problem with putting my link in courses, in Blackboard? Only those people that are registered in my class can access it, but a lot of times we want to get guest speakers from around the world that aren't registered in here. Okay? So, that we have here. So, what are we going to, so we talked about, so we're going to talk about blockchain and cryptocurrencies. We're going to be talking about steam it. We'll see how that works out. And then you guys can view it and see if it works. And then I also want to talk about automated trading systems, and we'll talk about NinjaTrader, and we'll talk about the idea of having windows. What happens if some of the people have windows, other people don't? How can I communicate together? So we'll talk about collaboration, and we'll also talk about security. How are we doing? How are we doing in terms of, everybody have the markers? Everybody have it? Okay, you never got one, so you want to bring it back? So, okay. So, let's do this. So let's start off, let's do some housekeeping. I now know my live streams, I have it here, but what would be good here, instead, let's go back. Let's do steamit.com/@the-cycle. Did I do it right? Oh, I forgot the C, right? Misspelled it. The cycle is C-O, okay? And now I'm going to copy this. Copy. And for my live stream, I want to edit this February 7th. Edit. And instead of this URL, what URL should I put in? I'm going to try the Steemit URL. And for the Steemit, I'm going to put in here also the Steemit here. And submit. Did you see that, Tommy? So I put it in here. I just hook it up to my at the Psycho. And we'll see in terms of, then at the psycho, then we can give each other credits and see how this blockchain works. Okay, we've gotten that part. Let's go to assignments. Let's see what happens in assignments. Let's go up to date here. Now, up to date, we've done chapter 1, which is quiz 1. We've done TG1, which stands for Tech Guide 1, which is hardware. We've also done chapter 4 with security. Any issues now with anyone having on those quizzes? Questions on those quizzes? Straightforward. So what I'm going to make available for next week is Tech Guide 2, and here it says TG2. So what do I need to do? Edit the test options. Where do I have to go? Help me out. Make the link available. And submit. And I'll give you 2 attempts rather than 1. Everybody okay with that? Give me thumbs up if it's okay. All right, so we got thumbs up for that is okay. I don't need this. I'm going to hide this. I'm going to move this a little bit down so we can see. Okay, I have this. And then on my course documents, just so we know, on my PowerPoints, I want to just make sure that we go over. I'm going to download chapter 4, which is the security. Showing the folder. And then we'll open up chapter 4. And we have the information security. Okay. So. And then I have my audit area. Let's go to my audit area. How do I get to my audit area? Blackboard. And the audit area, which is KY. And then I have my course documents. And I should have in all my groups. Are these all up to date, my groups here? Is anyone that you don't have in your group any longer? Remove them, but otherwise we're okay with everyone's phone number and emails. Okay, and then if I go Peter, Vincent, and Dan, if I go to the group, yes. Hello? What? Yes. Yeah, right, we did. Thank you. Vincent, do you have a phone call? Vincent and Phil? Thank you. We'll try it again. Okay, so this is good. What I would do here, Vincent's put in your group, and Dan and Peter, blockchain, what is it, what problems does it solve, and what are the common applications. And in NinjaTrader 7, he's given, this is nice, he's given how to download and install NinjaTrader 7 and the Mac installation instructions for configuring NinjaTrader for Parallels 7, 8, and 9. And the thing that I would check, he said he got it for 14 days. Let's use UM's ability. So go back and use UM's 1 and screencast how to operate NinjaTrader and use related functions. Okay? So the question I got then was excellent. I think Dan maybe asked me that question, and that this is what I understood, was does everybody in our group have to have NinjaTrader on their machines? And if you're not able to have that, how can you do the assignments? Everybody understand my question? What's my question, Dan? Let's repeat that to try to figure it out.
So, if my question was if Vinny has it, do Peter and I both need it, or can we just do it with him together?
Okay, so one is you could physically sit together.
Yeah. That's what we
And
did
do
for this.
it right. What's another way?
You could go to the desktops in the library.
You could do the desktops in the library and see if you can install it there or in the labs. Thank you so much. Did it work?
I think so.
Good. We'll talk about it. What else? What's another way?
Use a collaborative software.
How would you do that, Felipe?
You could use that on FaceTime or.
Well, the problem in FaceTime, you're talking, he'll talk in FaceTime. Vincent talks to Dan, so how is Dan going to do the homework? Team viewer. So write this in your notes there. Those of you that want to do 1 per group or 2 per group or even 3, and then you can even help each other, is download a program called Team Viewer. Look that up. It's called Team Viewer. Put it in your notes. It's team, and it's good even if everybody has it. Because what Team Viewer allows you to do is remotely use someone else's computer. Not only can you share your screens, but what you can do is you can go into Vincent's machines and try it out as well.
Okay.
Do you understand? So you'll be as if you're saying to Vincent, give me your laptop and I'll try it out.
Right.
I'll get practice on it.
Yep.
Plus, you can screencast it and record it and have a document for it. Why are you smiling? Because I'm excited for it. Not that you're excited, but that I'm excited. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, this entertains me, is that why? That it's so pathetic that this kind of thing entertains me rather than something else. Yes.
So you need a Windows browser to use NinjaTrader.
You need a Windows operating system. So either you can create what they call a virtual machine on your laptop, or you can go to a Windows machine, like to see if you can do it in the lab.
Okay. So
Where
I
they
can
have
do
Win-
it in the lab, like on the computer there.
Right.
I did try, you can't do it in the lab because you can't download the software.
Okay, so you know what you need to do? Write me an email and I'll have them install it in the lab, at least for some of the machines.
Okay.
So we'll have it. Send me an email tonight to remind me, and I'll ask the guys, at least in the business school, that I have some control over, that they can at least take some machines and install NinjaTrader there, so you can
Because I
work
would
in
just
the
rather
lab.
not download
What?
Windows on my computer.
Okay, if
Because
that's
I've
up
had
to
a
you.
Mac.
Okay, so
that
that's up to you. You understand? It's a virtual machine, but in the way. And then who else is in your group, Giselle?
None of my groups here today.
Which is not a good sign. Is
Yeah,
it?
it's not.
It's not a good sign. So you know what? Later
And they
on.
didn't tell me I had to do this. I asked Vinny. Well, Vinny texted me about it, and then I
Okay,
knew
but that's okay. But I'm just saying that's not a good sign. So what you may want to do is, in the beginning, even as a second person, maybe hook up with Vincent's group. You go by Vinny or Vincent? Which one?
Vinny works, for
Vinny
sure.
works. Okay, so go with Vinny's group. Maybe we'll end a little bit early. We can kind of merge with him in the beginning, and even if your group comes back, you can already have a sense of what's coming, and then you can lead your group. And if they don't come back, you got a new group right here. Okay?
Projects with them.
What?
Is there like group projects that I have to do with them? Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Okay, so that's not a good sign. So we may want to understand. So I'm just getting everybody prepared, in my agile development, to make everybody, before we do those groups assignments, that we also find out where the strengths. Okay, everybody with me. So Vincent, you were out, but I was just complimenting all your work that you did. So you've done, you outdid yourself in terms of, we discussed it before you took on the challenge that I gave you earlier. So we can do that. All right, so we have this one. Now and then in group, so Josette, Mark did email me, Josette, and told me that he's not feeling well and he's gonna look at the stream, so you may wanna, I even go with them and then,
Okay.
figure out with Mark. Okay, in group 3, so what do we do in group 3? Who's in group 3? Did I see? Group 3 is Luca then, and Zach, and Maddie, right? And Maddie is where? So, SG,
We asked.
Just-
No response.
no, it's, okay, so, move on, we can start with those two. And let's see, and you know what, Josette, these guys have two, so is another possibility for you to join if you don't have it. And then, what did you do? Did you get this done?
So neither of us had it, so I did screenshots of me attempting to download this.
Okay.
And why it wouldn't work,
Okay, good.
yeah.
Okay, so we got why it didn't work. Okay, so we got that far. Okay, and then, what else? Where else am I? Just to get a feel for where everybody is. And then I have Isabel, Tommy, and Nicholas. What have we done?
We looked at one of the library, not the library, the RS, the business school.
Uh-huh.
So then, yeah, it was a process to get it downloaded. I had to get the admin to come, and then they uninstalled it, and then reinstalled it.
Okay, so we'll get them to have it all the time. Okay, great. So did you get something done then? So Nicholas, what did you end up doing? You did an MSA crossover?
Yeah, and I added an additional thingy, so I took a screenshot of the results I got.
Okay, but you didn't put it into Excel?
Well, we all worked on the
I mean, it's on the other one that's on the, we did on Excel. But this one was just,
Where's the Excels here?
it says dot XLF.
Why am I not seeing it? I see PNG. Is it under this one?
Yeah,
And where is it?
the attached files.
Okay, so you did it. Okay, so you made each one.
Right.
Okay, so combine them into instead, what?
Combine it to just one Excel sheet.
Yeah, and then make different tabs and then have like a performance and you can do like keep a running total of their performances. But excellent.
I forgot what we were supposed to compare. What was it?
Okay, profit, so let me just show you. I'll show it to you in a minute. I'll go over it.
The long term, right?
Yeah, profit per month. And then, I got something else. Yes. Hello? Yes. Okay. My team here? Thank you. Okay, so I have here group 5. So how we do group 5? Did we get the Ninja Trader?
I just downloaded the Trader.
Okay, so we'll work on it. I'll stay with you, okay, at the end of the class, okay? So stay with me. And then what happened with Phil, Dudek, Gabrielle, and Felipe? What's going on? What did we get?
We got from the results from IBM and SEO. So one had a negative net profit, the other one has a positive one.
Okay, so let's put them in one
Okay.
workbook, okay.
And then we
And
got
were you
mixed
the
for
only
Excel.
one that got it? Felipe?
No, we got also got in the library.
Okay, in the library, which library?
Not rec.
Oh,
Digital
director, and you
library.
could download Ninja Trader?
Yeah, because Gabrielle had a Microsoft.
Oh, okay. Oh, you just worked on it, but she had it, perfect. Okay, and then the next time, go ahead also and have you ever used TeamViewer?
No.
Use TeamViewer. Everybody for an assignment, use TeamViewer and try to log in to each other's machines, and especially on the Ninja Trader, it'd be interesting. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, yeah. No, I just put the short link. Yeah, you can view us. Next time we'll do the long link.
Specifically.
Okay, so we have this. Excellent. So for next time, what I wanted you to show you here is, let me go into Ninja Trader. We'll talk about some concepts.
Holes. It's all one hole. Sure about that? Yeah.
So what do I do here at this point? I want to skip we'll just review a bit. And I'll close here. So I have my control center here. So what's the first thing I need to do, Isabel?
I don't know.
Okay, what's the first thing I need to do? Is I need to get data.
Connection.
Uday, what do I need to do? I need to get data, right? Right? I need to get data, so I need to connect to a data feed. And we can either do live data that goes tick by tick, and how fast is that? It's going, basically blink our eyes and it's going to be changes, or I can do end of day. We're going to look on a long-term basis. We're not going to be day traders or looking at it, but we could convert it to day traders day. So in doing my one, I want to go to my file and I want to connect. So where should I go, Uday? Uday, where do I want to go?
I don't know.
I want to connect.
Connect.
I want to connect to a data feed. So where among here should I go?
Connect.
Connect, very good. Okay, you see how it goes here? I want to connect, right? And Uday, I want to connect to something that's free. So in terms here of something that's free, right? If it's something as free, what do I want to do? I want to do file, connect, and I want to go to kinetic end of day, free. So you can put that in your notes there to make sure that we're doing that. And once I do kinetic end of day free, and one of the things is that you can review this since it's broadcast and it's archived, you can review it again, what I'm doing here, and you can go to what? At the cycle from Stephen, and you can view it, right? So in this case, I'm connected, and now I want to go to a new chart. So where do I go, Uday? I want to go to a new chart. New. Wow. See? And I want to go chart. And I want to pick in terms of here. So one of the things that I want to pick, we can think about it, is we'll even think about blockchain. Everybody knows Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin was one of the first cryptocurrencies that used the technology called blockchain. It's what we call a distributed ledger that's peer-to-peer. And it's decentralized. And you remember last week we had that guy come, I call him the kid, but this, he's a writer, and all of a sudden he's now famous with Bitcoin, and I asked him what decentralized means. Anybody remember his response? It's good that you did. Okay, what decentralized means is it's not central, and it's what we call peer-to-peer. And I'll give you a good analogy. In Blackboard, you have two sites, right? What's the different ones you have, Nico?
In this class,
Mhm.
the audit one and the student one.
And what's the difference between the audit and the student?
In the audit, we can modify stuff as a...
So your role is different, right? In the regular Blackboard, you can think about it as it's centralized. You have to go through me. Right? I have to give you permission to do something. In the audit area, it's peer-to-peer. What does that mean? You can go directly to other people in the class. You can go directly to me. And what do you have? You have six rights. So think about that analogy of peer-to-peer. And this is not new, but in technology, what they're trying to do is a number of companies are now thinking about it, industries are thinking about this blockchain technologies, because what they're going to eliminate is the middle person. Think about buying a house. Usually buying the house, is about just don't say, here's my house, here's my money, and you take my money and you put it in your pocket, right? What is it? Who's the intermediaries in buying real estate, JP?
He's a real estate agent.
A real estate agent, the bank, the title, a number of people in between. Think even disruptive technologies. Uber, right? We feel sad for those taxi drivers, right? No more, how many people take Uber instead of a taxi? I mean, it's, right? Is there an intermediary in Uber? Yeah, there is an intermediary. They've reduced it, they made it more efficient, but there is an intermediary, it's Uber, right? If you drive for Uber, do you get all the money? You're going to get it from there. So think about this blockchain could be that it's one-to-one or peer-to-peer. It could even be, they're doing autonomous cars. Anybody hear about autonomous cars, right? My brother-in-law just started a company a number of years ago called Mobile Eye. Anybody hear about it? Basically, they were the ones in a number of cars that do collision detection systems, when you're doing anything, when you're stopping short, and they got into autonomous cars. And in the very beginning, he was the chief engineer in Motorola, and he designed the fastest chip in the world. He's a pretty smart guy. And he didn't make CEO of Motorola in that chip division, so basically it was, hey, you got to leave the company. So he said, I started with a startup, I don't know, and they were starting with just 2 professors at a university, and they started this company using vision and creating these chip designs, and it turned out that he was offered $1 billion for his company. I said, go and take it. And he goes, no, Goldman Sachs says we can get more. Well, they sold it to Intel last year for $16 billion with a B dollars. I said $1 billion was enough, right? But they said, but it was basically why? Because they think that Intel is getting into that business of autonomous, autonomous vehicles, all these things. So think about if we had an autonomous vehicle, Uday, if I had an autonomous vehicle, and let's say we were together and we weren't driving all the time, we could share that, right? So the idea is, how would we share that? How would we buy that autonomous vehicle? In that way, if we wanted all 4, we could almost take away that intermediary. And maybe when it wasn't used, we could rent it out for other people. You see how that technology is working? And it's the same thing in healthcare that we're able to do in terms of this blockchains. So a number of companies, for instance, IBM is getting into blockchain technology. So I'm going to go to IBM. I'm going to go to new for daily. And now for the day, I want to keep the type as day. And now I want to say OK. And now I want to do, we can see here that IBM looks like at this point really went down right here, huh? It kind of went from here, and the question is, can we make money on the down? And I'm going to go to a strategy, right? I'm going to go to sample MAS crossover, and anytime I do it, I press new to get it. And now when you think about it, I have something called fast, 10-day moving average, and something called slow, 25-day moving average. So these are all my attributes that I have. And to enable the chart, I change false to what? Phil? I changed false to true. I got daily. I got true, and now I say okay or apply. Now, I have this gold here, moving average, and then I have a green moving average. When they cross, I either sell short, or when they cross, when the gold is above the green, I buy. When the gold goes below the green line, I sell. That's my what? Algorithm. And at this point, when it's red dots, it means what? Josette, when it's red dots, what does it mean, you think? Am I making money or losing money?
We're losing money.
I'm losing money. When it's red dots, I'm losing money. When it's, so here, I really lost a lot, right, using this formula. And at this point, I did pretty well later on. And notice here, the stock was going down. And Nico, why when the stock is going down is this dotted green? I was short. I was betting that it was going to go down, and I was right. Okay? And now if I go to my strategy report, performance, sample crossover, historical and real time, I get my summary. Now my summary, what's going to be important is basically to look at, so all of you know what's going to be important, is to look at my total net was 1282, my long trades was a little bit negative, and my short, I did better in my shorts than my longs altogether, and my profit per month is it's 0.48, so about what, 0.5% a month, which makes it not great, but at least I'm on the positive and it's better than the bank. So how do and then I just go to my grid and I can export it to Excel. And when I export it to Excel, when I have it as in Excel, I can then, what I want you to do is create a tab and call it IBM, basically create a tab that's called IBM, create a tab that's my other three, and then create another tab, put it in your notes, create another tab where it keeps track of my performance. What?
One more time, what do you mean by haptic?
So I want, in the way in which I want to do it, let me show you. What I want to do is, you see this? This is IBM. So I'm going to rename this, and I'll call this sheet IBM. And I'll call this IBM. And then what's going to be important here is my percent profitable, but I want to look at my profit per month. So I know here the total trades, I know 37%, but what I care about is not the percentage, but what's going to be important for me is to look at my profits per month. This line right here. So what I can do here, I can even put another, I can insert another one, and this can be total performance. Let me just rename this. Total performance. And then I could have then here, I could have the symbol. And then I could have here the profit per month. And I could also have, we insert here, I could have then the date. And then this way I could rank then which ones were profitable and when they changed. Okay? Perfect. Now, we talk about the source code. All of this is algorithmic. And it's by rules. How do I get to see the source code? And what's the source code? The source code is the code that's written in for us to, and in this case, it's open to us to see the source code. So how do I get to the source code? Any ideas? I have to go back to my control center. So to get to the source code, put it in your notes, to get to the source code, I need to go to the control center. So I'm going to go back. And you remember what the algorithm is? In words, what's the algorithm? Who can tell me what in your own English words, what's the algorithm? When the green line goes below this gold line, right, I buy. When the green line goes above, what am I going to do? Sell short. So how do you write that in code? So what did I say you have to go? Where do you have to go? The control center. And then you have to go to tools. Put it in your notes. And I need to go to the control center and you need to go to tools. And the source code of NinjaTrader is called NinjaScript. The source code of NinjaTrader is called NinjaScript. Anybody hear of JavaScript? It's basically, JavaScript is for the internet, for web browsers, NinjaTrader, and it's a version of the code called C#. It's basically a version of like Java. So what do I need to do in order to edit the NinjaScript? Where do I have to go?
Edit NinjaScript.
Yeah. Edit NinjaScript. And it's either an indicator or a strategy. And let me tell you what the difference is. An indicator is like a formula. An indicator is like average. An indicator would be just a formula. A strategy can be a combination of indicators with logic. A combination of indicators with logic. Meaning if, right, one of my fast-moving averages crosses above or crosses below, then what? Buy, else what? Sell. Sure. You got the idea, and it's just now what's Ninja's script is, a lot of that enter a buy or enter a short, already it's programmed in. Cross above, cross below, already put in. Yes, Isabel?
Is this script like 100% reliable?
In what sense?
It won't like fail? Or like,
Fail in what way?
as in
Failing?
like confuse the buy short order?
It won't necessarily usually confuse the buy-sell order, but your logic has to be correct. And it has to meet on the time. You know, there's sometimes what you want to do, though, is put in stops. So, for instance, this week, you remember when the market really went down precipitously, sometimes when it was like that falling knife, you couldn't get that short. Or sometimes you couldn't get out in time. Sometimes, you know, the market went down for 15 seconds. But that happened to all the machines. And why did even the market go down so precipitously that day? Part of it was everybody had the same rules of the machine trading that said after, let's say after it goes down 1.5%, sell. And whenever all those machines, when we're talking about 90% of the machines when we're talking about 90% of the machines in the world are going by these rules, then everybody's selling and it precipitates that. You know, it's like linking where people don't have a sense, so you can override it. So your question, is it 100%? It depends on it depends on those market conditions. It also depends, all of a sudden, the server could go down. You know, I mean, you need backup. What?
Could get hacked.
You could possibly get hacked. The whole NASDAQ could get hacked. Sometimes people, pull everything down. But one of the ways in which is that you also can intervene. You can say, hey, I'm going to intervene that part. When you're seeing that market, you can then try something else manually to do. But the idea to be able to think, if your algorithm is good, then you can really make a lot more money than just, picking on your own and just, like some of these people were doing, like her about just guessing, among the things. And this is where the market is going. All those, what they call those robotic investment advisors, all those things that are going past that you can see with these rules. Just like in healthcare, they're going to be having assistance, in terms of, do you have these certain kind of diseases to give physicians or others to give them advice on what to do. It's based on, how well, or I didn't realize that. It's almost like Watson, from IBM. So now I'm going to do, we did a sample SMA crossover strategy, right? So where am I going to go? To strategy. And I was using the sample MA crossover. We'll show later on where you can go and pick other strategies that people have published, but we're able to do that. Good question, Isabel. It depends. We're using, there's other ones out there. Why I like to use this is not so much on the 100%, but what I like to do is, I like the cost. It's free, it's in simulated mode, and you get the idea. So other people are doing this automated trading systems may not use this platform, but they're going to use something similar. So once you get this, you have the idea, and maybe the code is a little bit different, but it still has the same idea. So this is called what? If I look at this, Phil, and I gave you this on the test, remember I told you the test? You remember I told you the test is going to be 2 parts. It's going to be like the quizzes on the book, and also what we cover in the class. So if I gave this, and I said, what is this? What would you describe this as? Is this described as what? Source code. And even though, how many people are programmers in here? You don't see too many. And guess what? Tonight you're going to be programmers. And I'll show you it's not such a big deal. Right? And if you have an idea that you can communicate with them, you have the logic, and it can even produce code. So everything in green here is what they call comments. It's for, you can put that in your notes here, the comments in programming means that it's for the end user, that you can read. Josette, you can read copyrighted, and this describes things, but the computer doesn't understand it. You could even write it in another language. You could write it in Chinese, you could write it in French, you could write it in Spanish for those comments, just for the end user. The rest are logic here that you can see here I'm gonna go line 38 and 39. So Vinny, you did such a great job, right, before, so we're gonna do some coding, right? We're gonna understand some coding. So let's look at line 38. Everybody see line 38? Right? Everybody with me? We're line 38 right here. Every line ends with a semicolon. That means it's like, you think about it, it's like a statement. Okay? Instead of left to right, you know there's some languages you read right to left? We're going to do like Arabic or Hebrew or something. We're going to read right to left, and I'll show you that we know. First of all, you remember our two moving averages? What colors were they? Orange and green. Right? So this says what? Orange of what? The color, right? The color orange of the pen for what moving average? The fast movers. The second one then, Dan says what?
Green.
Green for which moving average?
Slow.
The slow. That's it. No big shakes, right? And then basically you could even remember where we had the orange and green, you could even put this in where the computer would write the code for you. All you have to decide is what color do I want? Do I want orange or do I want blue or do I want sun? And I just could pick the colors. And then they say, go ahead and do the SMA, add fast and slow, right? And then on the, after every bar, calculate it. And right here, lines 52, 53, 54, and 55, that's the logic. This is the logic. So be with me right here. Who can help me on line 52? Understand what line 52 means? Volunteers. Keys to the Mercedes in the parking lot. Tommy, you want to give it a try?
We kind of touched on it last class. If the fast is above the slow, then
Right. If the fast, right, crosses above, so that cross above is a built-in word in NinjaScript. Because guess what? Two lines either going to do what? It's going to hit it, or it's going to cross above or cross below. It's built in. It's basically saying if the fast crosses above the slow, enter long. That's a built-in function. You know, like in Excel has built-in functions? NinjaScript has built-in functions saying enter long because guess what? You do it so often in a trade. Either you enter long or you get out or you enter short, right? So enter long. Else if it crosses below, enter short. Now you can make it more complicated. And Isabel, when we're thinking about it, we can add on to it. We want to add on our stops, right? That if it goes below, if it starts falling, right, if my profits per month is a certain amount, get me out. If it's going below 2% or 1%, I set this threshold. You know, get me out of the trade. So you can put that in. You would want to, because you just don't. Because you think this works all the time? Of course it doesn't. And you want to modify it as, you want to put yourself some constraints. Sometimes you may even, you know, once I start winning too much, I may want to take some money off the table, too. You know, like that song, I should play that song. You know, when it was Kenny Rogers, know when to fold it, know when to, you know, walk away. So it's the same kind of thing. So when you're leaving your money on the table, you know. So we'll go find that on YouTube or something. You guys can find it. Find that song from The Gambler. So this is the idea. So for next week, what I'd like you to do, those of you that haven't, one is send me an email and I'll try to get them to put in the labs. Two, to use Team Viewer, and even if not everyone in your group has it, that you all can use it, and then come up with what you did last week and keep a running record of what's happening now, because what happened last week isn't gonna be the same. And then it maybe we'll need, and then next week what I'll show you is, let's put in a group of stocks where the computer can tell us that I don't have to pick and choose. It's a pain, right, Nico, that if I think about it, that you have to go every time and check. You only check how many? 3 stocks, and what are there? There's 3,000 stocks, right, or 10,000, or whatever I'm gonna be doing. Give them a set of symbols and let the computer find me the best ones at each time. What to invest, yes.
Can you just show again, because I had Ninja
Yeah.
Trader 8 and
Uh-huh.
I downloaded 7, can you show again the step to get to the curve?
To get to which one?
So you get the chart.
Oh, to get the chart? It's not the same in Ninja 8? Okay, I'll show it to you at the end. I'll show you in Ninja 8, okay? That you can play around to see it. Okay, what else? Yes, Tommy?
How would you compare, I guess, all the multiple stocks for what we're looking for, instead of us clicking on and off, you know, like how would you do that in here?
I'll show it to you next week.
Okay.
Okay, and in next week, it'll be good, the easy way to do that is I'll show you even in Ninja Trader 8 how you can put it all together. You can make yourself a list, like a group, and have it go through each of them. I'll show it to you next week. Wonderful, great questions, okay? So we're set with this one, and then what I'd like you to do is take the source code and you can put it in Word, and then you can then create basically your description. So a good thing would be for a quiz question or for a test question would be able to describe this logic. And how could you describe this logic is that if you put these 3 symbols here, right? I could add these 3 symbols here. I could bring this into like a text file or a Word, and I could make the description. And then later on, what we'll do, I'll show you, is we'll even show this where you can use their wizard to create, see here, new Ninja script. Everybody see that? Strategy. You see next? You give it a name, you give it a description. I go to, so let me give it a description. New custom strategy, let's call it Dr. Let's do this, SMA fast, slow. And then enter description. I'll put my name. We'll do this next one too, and then you see here next. And then you give some inputs, you give some types, and if I want to view the code, see here Dr. Rush right here? And I'll go through that and you can create, by not doing the code, it produces the code for you. That produces the logic for you. See all this? It's already written for me. Looks like I did something. And then when you put the logic in and you put the inputs in, by just answering like some forms, it will write the strategy for you. And then you can modify it. So you can say here, you know, instead of 10:25, I want to do 5:12 or something. I want to change those amounts. And you can add it. Questions? Okay, so we finished that. So let me know during the week if you have still some issues with that, and we can proceed on it. Let me go back to my regular one. I'll show you some other things that I want you to do. Go to Blackboard. Go to your regular, not your audit, but your regular instructor. You can go to web links. And for next week, did I go over the stolen lumens with you? This is interesting. Remember how I said all this cryptocurrencies? A lot of times they're talking about being safe. They can be hacked. There's a company I love this. Over the weekend, it says unknown threat actors have compromised the Black Wallet application and stolen $400,000 in user funds. Over the weekend, as reported by, you like the name of the publication, Bleeping Computer, a DNS server connected to the domain of a browser-based wallet application, Black Wallet, was compromised. So we have to figure out what a DNS server is. Josette, have you ever heard of it? So, what do I usually say?
Google.
So, DNS server.
It's the domain name system. It's a hierarchy.
Okay, so first of all, DNS stands for Domain Name System. Have you ever heard of a domain name? Have you been on a browser before?
Yeah.
Where have you gone on the browser? Give me an example.
Facebook. Oh, well, Safari would be the browser.
Browser, and have you ever gone to a site on your browser?
Yes.
What? Where have you gone?
Facebook's easy.
Okay, Facebook.com. Facebook.com is a domain name. Apple.com is a domain name. Miami.edu is a domain name. Okay? That's a domain name. And so what we say here is the domain name server is a place where all domains are registered with their addresses. So really, on the internet, in a web browser, every domain name has a number or what we call an IP address. Jot it down. IP stands for what? Internet Protocol. So every domain name has an internet protocol. So you have an address, right? And your address, let's say your address was 2020 Ponce de Leon, right? But what would it be is your domain name would take that 2020 domain name and hook it with, it's easier for me to know Josette. With the name that I know that I can go to Josette. So what we have is a server, is that server that publishes, that holds all those domain names, and that server was connected to this Black Wallet. It's a computer that serves it, and it was compromised. Meaning, what does it mean, compromised? It was hacked. Somebody went in there without permission. And what they did was they have a cryptocurrency called Lumen, and it was the target of the attack, and it redirected the DNS server to a server controlled by the hacker. So you understand? Instead of going there, he said, you know what? Instead, why don't you go to my address? Go to my server. And then, when the theft took place, there was over $100,000 in the attacker's wallet. And they said that accordingly, the exploit, the way that they did the attack is an exploit, was what they call code injection. Where have we heard the word code from? Did we hear it today? Source code. It's the instruction, so it's as if, Isabel, you know, if somebody wanted, you were doing so well, what somebody, you're almost asking is you got a great algorithm and somebody could inject your code and switch it. And say instead of sell, do buy, because I really want to get you, right? So it's almost that idea that there was a code injection that, guess what the algorithm is? If over 20 lumens was held by users, the funds were automatically transferred over to the attacker's wallet. It almost sounds like our code, our logic for what? That SMA crossover. If, for instance, one crosses above and one crosses below, we can do it. So they're transferred to the attacker's wallet. And at this point, you're just going to get so excited. I don't want to mess with this. But look at this. We're reading code, source code. Uday, you told me you don't know how to program, right? And I'm going to show you, you can understand it. Basically, it says, remember this slash here? What do we say about slashes? It's just English. Just basically to explain. The computer doesn't understand it. It says, move from the unlocked page to the wallet page. Amazing. Move it to where the wallet was and move it to my area. And then there was a function of the display the wallet, and guess what it says? If get wallet lumens count is greater than 20, what does that mean? Basically, if that wallet that's legitimate has more than, greater than 20 lumens, basically it says get the wallets, right? Put it in this place, and guess what? What is this? That's the destination. That's basically, you know, his place where his wallet is. So they didn't have strict enough. Do you see how it goes? How it's scary? I'm going to scare you that we're not going to ever get onto the internet before. I just met today, and he'll come. I've asked him to come. We'll see if he will. We'll have him join us. Is the head of the Secret Service here in Miami. And he was scaring me today about telling me about all like the cryptocurrencies and also all the fraud that is being done in Miami. You know, simple little things, you know, where they'll have cryptocurrencies getting these guys in the Secret Service and FBI really upset. Why?
It's been used to purchase illegal things.
Yeah, you know, it's all the drugs, all that money to terrorism, everything is going through it. And what else? It's hard to find who owns the whole idea of people like that. Cryptocurrencies is it's difficult to find who that person is in that Bitcoin area. But what happens, he says, is in Bitcoin, they don't know who the owner is, but if you want to buy a Ferrari today with all your Bitcoin, all the dealerships aren't taking Bitcoin to buy those Ferraris. So what do you have to do?
You have to use Tether.
Huh? You have to convert it, basically. A lot of them want to basically transfer it to dollars.
But there's a coin that does that,
Yeah.
which
But,
is the Tether.
yeah. But these guys are using Bitcoin, and so what they were doing now is they have these guys on the dark net where they're basically saying, we're volunteering, we'll money launder for you. And then they basically, and so what they do is now the FBI and all these guys, they're getting those money launderers, and through them maybe they think they can get, you know, the original ones. But they're in trouble, you know what I mean, the FBI. And then, so here are the destinations. But I just wanted to show you what it is in terms of security, what happens in security, and you can go back to those links where I put the law. So IBM is now, what I'd like you to do is read this article, is what's the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain for business. And you can go through this, and a lot of people are confused that Bitcoin and blockchain are the same thing. They're not the same, but Bitcoin uses that blockchain technology. And notice they're closely related. When Bitcoin was released as open source code, blockchain was wrapped up together in the same solution. So in this case, there's a misunderstanding. Is Bitcoin is a type of unregulated digital currency, right? And is known as then the cryptocurrencies. And you can have blockchain, and they're stored and transferred using what we call a distributed ledger on a peer-to-peer network that is open, public, and anonymous. Blockchain that maintains the Bitcoin transaction ledger, and then you have a video here that I'd like you to look at when you have the time, is what's the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain, and how the blockchain works, and how now blockchain is being used for business. And if you look at it being used for business, what I'd like you to do when Bitcoin is known, and you remember I talked about KYC? What's KYC? What's KYC? Know your customer. So any bank, anybody that opens up an account, especially in the United States or wants to work with the United States, have to have what they call anti-money laundering compliance. Anybody hear about that? If you open up an account, it means I have to know your customers. What used to be is I open up an account and I had some dictator, murderous dictator somewhere, and I got all his money and I opened up an account. So now basically what they're saying is you have to know exactly who you're dealing with. And what they're basically doing, you can see here, there's multiple, you have to know who you're dealing with on this blockchain. Now, here are ways in which I think is really good. They're talking about how blockchain can set that up. And the other article I want you to read for next week is what is blockchain, and the distributed ledger technology, better known as blockchain, has the potential to eliminate huge amounts of record keeping, save money, and disrupt. So you can listen to them, these two guys. I'm going to put it on pause. But what you can see here is you can read through this article, and they're basically talking about real world projects. And what I like about that is it starts with financial services, but it can go to healthcare, to mobile payments, and even global shipping. And here you have some links here, and this is an interesting article. And what I would do here is, these are questions that, for instance, that I asked you before, is what is blockchain? What does blockchain do? How secure is blockchain? Public versus private blockchains.
And these articles are on Microsoft links?
Under web links. Go to it now and
Yes.
find it. You see it? Because this is really, I'm going to spend some more time with it, but these you can see among your industries that you're interested in. Go to those areas and see it. So for instance, even, we were talking about that, Tommy, blockchain for healthcare. Is when I'm doing this is called Mint Health, a portable personal health record. And these are by guys in San Diego, and what they're doing is they're going to create a coin and blockchain for insurance companies to incentivize people to be healthier. So every time you go to the gym, every time you work out, you'll get coins. And they want to work with that in terms of it. It's kind of interesting. We'll be rolling out a commercial health insurance for help patients with chronic conditions, right, that account, in addition, to patients at risk but is not suffering, to encourage people to be healthier. And they're trying this, so this whole blockchain, you can put this in your notes, is the blockchains also not only can be public, but can also be private. And just because in the Bitcoin we don't know who the people are, we can create blockchains and know who we're dealing with. It doesn't have to be anonymous, and it's the blockchain technology where people are getting excited is basically think about it as being more efficient and getting rid of the intermediary, like I was talking about. So you can see here that this is dealing with the blockchain. So I'd like you to look at that in essence of what industries you're interested in and what are they doing in blockchain. And this could be a possibility for your project. Okay. The other part that we asked for, remember, was in chapter 4, was it information security, that you can think now that information security you have something called unintentional threats and intentional threats. And sometimes what those unintentional threats are can be human errors, my threats to a system, or social engineering. What's social engineering? Who knows? Are you raising your hand, Tim, or you're just stretching? It's hard, I know. What is it then?
They use centralized
Just-
planning in an attempt to manage social change and regulate the future development and behavior of society.
What the heck does that mean? Who cares? Remember, I know what it says, but think about it. What does it mean? Yes,
Trying
Jim.
to get people to act a certain way.
What?
Trying to get people to act a certain way.
Yeah, what else? Tom?
There was a quiz question on it. It said the attack is an attack in which the perpetrator uses social skills to trick or manipulate legitimate employees into providing confidential company information.
Social engineering. It's basically I'm going to try to pretend to be someone I'm not. I'm going to befriend somebody. I can be in social engineering, finding some information and try to trick somebody. Right? I can then, Isabel, we can go out to lunch. I befriend you. Right? And as we go out to lunch, you know what, Isabel? I forgot my password. Can I use your account? Or we go together, just leave your computer, and then, Uday, you come onto her computer, she didn't log off, and as I'm asking her, or I'm befriending her, she can do something, or I can call her up, somebody else can call you up and say, you know what, we're part of that social engineering, where we're now changing everybody's passwords or bank account numbers, or we're a vendor that we're changing our numbers. So you basically can do social engineering. I just got an email. What was that email? Did you get this? I got this. Class today. Privacy. Here. MBS faculty and staff, yet another email has been reported today. It is a phishing scam. Anybody know what phishing scam is? Basically hunting it down, right? It's a phishing scam and does not originate from the University of offices. If you receive it, please do not click the link or reapply. We are aware of the problem. We reported to Central to block it. As a general reminder, please be aware of suspicious links and attachments arising from email and social media. Also be aware of malware disguising itself as a legitimate source, a bank or Facebook. Do not open it if you're unsure. We will not ask for passwords or other credentials through an email. If you are in doubt, please contact us for your confirmation, right? And then they basically sent me this image where it was to David Bernbach, new notification regarding your payroll. Dear member, doesn't it look official? To Eric. So this looks like Bernbach. Is he part of the university? Anybody know? Type his name. David B-I-R-N Bach, M.D. What does it say?
Type where?
In Google, type his name and put University of Miami. David Bernbach, M.D.
Yeah, he is.
Huh?
He is.
He is, and what's his role?
Professor. Anesthesiology.
Okay, and what else? Does he have anything else?
Device, provost.
He's a vice provost. Does this look good? So now people are sending emails. Talk about social engineering. It has his picture. It says Bernbach David J.D. New notification regarding your payroll. I just got this today. Right? And it says this is our IT director in the School of Business, one of our IT directors in the School of Business. He got this, and it says, Dear member, you have one new notification regarding your payroll. Huh? You have one new notification, right? And look at this. Miami.edu payroll forms, duplicate, yes, thank you. Does that look legitimate? Does it have Miami.edu? It does look really, but guess what? They have something that says here, but it goes to another site.
Like a virus?
Like a virus, and like the idea probably ask you, Isabel, what's your bank account number? Because we have to change something. Right, you give it, right? You give that bank account number, right? Or they're saying there's some change here, right? Or we're going to take some of these things. They get your information already, and they transfer. And you think they tried this maybe millions of times. This could be coming from who knows where in the world. And if just 5% of the people click on it, or 20% of the people click on it, and click again, this is how they go about doing it from these clicks. And look how, thank you, right? In the beginning here it says thank you, and then it was, like the University of Miami. So this part basically went. And they even got, and how easy is it to, do you have to go to David Bernbach to get his picture?
No.
I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, you'll go and type his name and look in Google for images, right? You'll get a nicer picture from him. Grab it, put it on your email, and let's go. And this is not even that sophisticated. So these sites then can be basically phishing, pretending like you're another site for someone else. Yeah.
Do banks give you your money back? Like, do they protect against phishing
Okay,
attacks?
Well, they are FDIC. If they're FDIC, you're protected on a certain amount of money for those funds. But guess what? In cryptocurrency, in that hack I showed you, that's why now people are doing controlling it. It isn't. Or if I get some of the others, they can do it. There's so many of these crimes that now it's just cyber crimes. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to go and see on the 10 o'clock news. I don't have to wear like headband, you know, and put my hoodie on and put a gun to somebody's head. All I have to do is I can be anywhere in the world, right, and take money and start collecting it. And if I'm smart enough and I don't go to countries that are extradition, right? Some of these people, you know, go to France or something like that, they just do stupid things and then they can catch them. But how many are being done? And these companies, you know what? I think it takes months, and a lot of these companies don't even know they've been hacked. Unless it's something like, you know, all of a sudden I don't see any money in my bank account. But a lot of these companies can be hacked. They can have these viruses there for a long period of time. Remember that, anybody ever seen that movie, Catch Me If You Can? I met the real Catch Me If You Can. I was invited to a seminar. You know, he went to jail. And then what did he do after he got out of jail? Anybody know?
You work for the FBI.
He worked for the FBI, and now he's working. He's making millions now, kind of giving advice to companies. You know, what would a criminal do? And they invited me to the Four Seasons Hotel for this presentation. Great food. I thought I would just love the food. You know what I mean? They had lobster steaks. I don't even remember what they were having. You know, I enjoyed the cook. But this guy was so good. I think he was conning me. You know, he was such a great speaker. But what he said was, he thought the biggest hacks would be done at universities.
Didn't they hack him?
They hacked a lot of things, you know, in the world. You know what I mean? They hacked payroll. You know, there was supposed to be a default, right? Asking if a bank number, your bank account number was supposed to be changed, and they let that go. You know, they hacked payroll. So it's easy, and some of it is being done just by not education. You know, not the appropriate education. So I think it would be interesting if the head of the Secret Service wants to cut. He has a forensics lab here in Miami. I'll invite him. Interesting. It'd be interesting to invite him. I'll invite him to come and give us a talk on that. So you need to know the social engineering. What else? And then if you look here, under the security threats, slideshow view, is in, if I look at any of these, security is that you can tell here it's either outside threats coming from the internet, coming from the cloud, natural disasters, and what is, in essence, a lot of times is by employees. Insiders are creating a lot of this, insider threats. And you can see here programming applications, users, data entry, weak passwords, consultants, unauthorized theft, inside deals. You know, people opening up their own accounts pretending to be like another vendor, but with just a little different name. So what's our homework? Let's review. What's our homework?
Quizzes.
What?
The quizzes.
The quizzes, so which quiz?
2 and 5.
What?
TG 2 and 5.
TG2, which is the software. Tech Guide 2, what else?
To use TeamViewer to keep running record of what happened week to week.
Right, and what else? And use it for the Ninja Trader and create then Excel of basically create one book in Excel with several tabs and look at what, from week to week, you even can see what has gained and what has lost.
And then also read what it's watching.
Right, and read those 3 articles at the end of March. I think that's enough. Oh, the web links that I gave at the end of the web links. Go to your web links
Yeah, present.
on blockchain. Yes,
Deb Peterson.
TG
Web.
or Tech Guide 2.
Peterson and then.
Thank you for asking. So if I go back, these three, the stolen Lumen black wallet that I went over, the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain, and what is blockchain the most disruptive tech. And when I look at what is blockchain the most disruptive, is listen to both of those articles at the end, listen to the videos, and then on that last one, Nico, here, you can even listen to this, but let me, right. Okay. And what is blockchain? Answer on the table of contents, answering these questions. You know, which industries, and find those industries that you're most interested in. Okay? Okay. For instance, I gave you a thing like this, Mintel. I'll be able to. Question. I think that's enough. And then, did you find about the charts? And then what I wanted to see then, the group in the back, we'll make sure that everything is up and running from them. Josette, you can maybe set that up.
My group isn't here.
Your group isn't here at all. And where how have you been, what group are you?
7.
7, okay, so maybe you can join. Have you seen them at all?
No.
Okay, so maybe, how many guys do you have?
We do have them.
You have 3. And who else has, and we have 3? So maybe even you can, what?
I'll figure something out.
No, join them.
Okay.
You're right next to them. Join them now, and so we can get, because, you know, we only meet once a week, so it's, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can work it out, you can work it out, and it's gonna be too late to work it out.
Yeah.
So I wanna get you up and running, you know, and have everything done. And have you done the Ninja Trader?
No, I couldn't.
So that's what I'm saying, so let's work with the groups. And then also email me in terms of, to remind me to make sure that we can get, in the lab, we can get the Ninja Trader.
And once we email you and that happens, you'll email us like which.
Yeah, right, I'll
Computer.
send out to everybody, you know, what we have. But for now, work with groups that already have done it using TeamViewer. You know, so just said
Just
you
to
can.
like look at it?
No, just to do it, you can basically do that same exercise. Vincent, for instance, on this one, using TeamViewer, that exercise, what I want you to be able to do is everybody in the group to be able to do the exercise. To at least pick one company and look at their SMA, look at their profits per month and to export it to Excel. So for instance, I'm just gonna pick on Vinny right now. So Vinny would be in a group, he doesn't even have to meet with them physically, but you get all on TeamViewer. And then basically you can share your screen and then other people can log into your screen and actually do the homework assignment. You're using, do you know, everybody understand what I'm saying? Is basically you're trying to be like tech support. Have you ever seen like tech support? Can I take over your computer? I'm going to give you access to your computer. Well, basically, somebody that has the Ninja Trader on there, they can get access to each other's computer. Questions? So I'm going to see the group in the back. What other group? We got you set, JP, so be with them. We got to be flexible. Remember my agile development is that we can't wait for, 12 weeks and say, you know what, I never found my group and I haven't done anything. I don't want to be in that situation and you don't either. And it's a shame time is, a marching. So I want to get into more areas and then those of you to think about areas and then start thinking about areas that you want to do your project on. Basically, hey, I want to get into more of this automated trading, or I want to get into finding out about blockchain for a certain area, or this is an area in technology that I want to pursue, you know, for our group. And then we can have, the project can be of what you want, and I can be in everybody's group and giving, you know, the pluses and the minuses and saying where I'll help you, direct you, that you can get the most skills, that when you come out of it, it's not that I just took 2 tests, you know, and I turned in some stupid paper, but rather these are the skills that I got, that I can pursue my own passions, and I can promote what I want to promote. That's where the world is going, right? And then I can give those skills to where I have passion, rather than, and to be aware of what's happening. That it's just not for problem. And this, why I'm concerned with this blockchain, putting that up, is it's really an area where they're not even, I want to just create a whole semester just on that. You know, blockchains, just to give a course on that, because I think, you know, there should even be blockchain accounting, blockchain, ideally blockchain economics, blockchain marketing, every blockchain and finance, of course. So you got it. So let's take advantage of this, because we're kind of open. Okay, so stay with me, and then we can get this up and running, and find out about. Do me a favor and also find out about getting parallels for free. You know, from UM, that they're allowing us to do, where you can download it. I know they used to put it on your laptop themselves, but in this case, maybe you can even ask them, I can download it myself, just give me a copy of the parallels that I can do. Because sometimes what the students didn't want to do, they wanted to take it for 2 days, you know, drop off your laptop, and I said, hey, I don't want to waste 2 days dropping, I need it. So if you can find out how we can get that and get all, and we know we can get Windows, right? You didn't know that before. We can get Windows free. Take advantage of all the software you can get free. Okay, stay with me, and then I'll be with the group in the back. We'll work together. You come up here, and we can get you up and running. Okay? Perfect. Yes.
I wanted to inform the class. So, guys, I'm the transcriber for this class, so if you miss a lecture or like not clear about something, I'm just at the bottom in the course documents in the audit section. You should see lecture captions.
And we're going to put her lecture captions, we're going to put it into the videos too.
And that's in the audit one.
Yes.
The videos are in the regular one.
Right. Because I have permission in the regular one. Awesome. So anything that we can, and we're trying it out. And if they're not working, and then we're trying out, and now we're going to try it out in the Steam, you know. And if you're interested, you could even create a Steam blog and see how it works, getting an idea of how the blockchain works. Okay, and then you can put that in and promote. Okay. Stay with me, those that I asked specifically, and others that we have any questions. So, Jesse, work with Amir has installed Integrator.
I was supposed to do the site,
Yeah, right.
Google sites, and I'm still waiting to see to confirm.
Okay, perfect. So if you could work with Jesse in terms of getting, you can use his, he has a Mac, and get him to get up and running. Okay, yes, please.
Well, I already put the videos on.
Okay, okay.
Like a
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Right, well, you have IBM, okay, now what's your percentage per, what's your profit per month, Go down. What's your profit per month? Right. So this is profit per month, 0.45. So first of all, what we want to go up up here. And then let's now just do performance. Let's do, yeah, let's insert a line. That's hard for me to read, but it's okay, I trust you, right? No, it's okay. I have to learn Chinese too. So put in IBM, the symbol IBM. So every time you want to put IBM, right? Okay, so we do that. So we got this, so now what we want to do is you want to have like 3 companies to see. You want to do the same thing on
I
three.
should compare those 3 companies.
3 companies, and then make a 4th one, you can make a 4th sheet, even let's go, and let's just call this performance. Right, and then you'll have a date, no, just put the column number,
Well,
date,
you passed the test.
date,
Oh,
and then
dude, yeah.
put, okay.
I saw your eyes like
we-
yesterday.
We did
Oh, that
date,
kills
and
me.
then you wanted to symbol,
I like being able to study for things.
right, you did all right, huh?
I did fine, yeah.
Right, okay, so we got
This
a
time.
symbol,
This is-
SYMBOL, okay? Yes, please. Symbol, and then you want to do profit per month. Okay, and then the first one, for instance, you can do, where's the IBM, what date, do we have a date here of IBM? Let's go here.